So I purposely didn't read or watch any reviews for this movie before I watched it. And that was a good decision. Everybody, welcome back to A Well-Read Nerd, and as you can tell, this is a review. I'm going to be reviewing the new The Munsters movie by Rob Zombie. So I watched it last night, and like I said in my little intro thing, I didn't read or watch any reviews for this before I watched the movie. I just sat down, put it on, and watched it. My only expectations were from the trailer. Now, when I read and watched the reviews, there is a lot of hate for this movie. There are people that are just ripping it apart. I have noticed one common denominator with all the people that came across the first entire 2 pages of the YouTube suggestions for reviews for this movie. Yes, they're all large content creators. I only saw one review by a woman. What was it? Nerdsplat? I'll put it in here. Anyway, it was the only review I saw from a female content creator, and it was by far the least harsh of the criticisms. And I think that's an experience I had with this movie. It was almost like we watched 2 different movies. And I don't know if it's a female horror fan thing, because the channel I'm mentioning also covers a lot of horror content. I don't know if it's just a female thing where women like different things in their movies. It's not completely justified in that though, because I talked to one of my best friends last night who also watched it, and he said that he liked it. So, I'm not saying I liked it. There are going to be criticisms in this video, but it's not going to be the kind of criticisms I'm seeing on YouTube of, this is horrible, why did they make this? Those aren't the criticisms for this movie. Trust me, there'll be plenty of other ones that will have that in it, just not this particular one. So let's start off by going over just the overall movie. Okay, the movie itself, if you couldn't tell from the trailer, is actually a prequel to The Munsters, which means that the main cast of characters are original characters for this movie, and then the characters of Lily, Herman Munster, and then who will eventually become Grandpa, but in this case is simply called the Count or father-in-law. Those are the main 3 characters that you will recognize. Now, as somebody who grew up watching the Munsters and enjoying Munsters content, even the crappy Munsters Rebooted or Munsters Today, this one that came out in the late 80s, early 90s, I still watched that. I still ate that crap up. I loved it. It was campy. It was feel good entertainment for me. And if you watched my Mockingbird Lane video, check it out up here, you'll notice that I talked about the original creators of the Munsters creating a show that was very much reactionary to the civil rights movement and very much of its time in that respect. The creators of the show, specifically the executive producers, also created Leave It to Beaver, which has its own issues nowadays with how it depicted the 1950s and how it wasn't realistic, but they knew it wasn't real. Even the creators knew it wasn't realistic. It was the idealized version of what America was. In a lot of cases, the Munsters was meant to be an idealized version of reality, a reality where people could look different on the outside and still be the same on the inside, how people could coexist together. That is an important note, and we'll come back to a criticism later. But yeah, that was very much the notion behind the Munsters back when it was first created. And it was campy and it was cheesy because it was basically a sitcom at the time about monsters. Now, this movie is very cheesy and very campy, and I am here for that. I love me some camp, okay? And a lot of people were, I was critical of the oversaturation in the trailer. The oversaturation of the film, meaning color saturation, wasn't as prevalent in the movie like it felt in the trailer. In the trailer, it felt garish. in the actual movie, while I'm watching it, you could tell it was actually done very practically. It was edited in post to make those colors pop more. But as somebody who has a background in theater tech, that's what I did in high school. I actually got paid to do it while I was in college. Who knows how to like basically put in the color gels in the par cans in the, what are they? The fours? It's been forever. Anyway, the little lights that you could do this to, they've got a thing in the front, you put gels in them. And that's how you make colored light in theater. You could tell that it was actually practically lit, and then the colors were boosted in post. As somebody who used to do that long time ago, I appreciated that. Like I said, in the trailer it came across as garish and oversaturated, but in the movie you could see an excellent play of light and dark and color when it came to lighting this movie, and that meant that there was a lot of care taken into the set dressing. So as somebody who loves those things, that was very appreciated. Costuming, not so much. Lily, Sherry Moon Zombie, was by far the best costumed person. No surprise. Like, I would not be surprised if this was Rob Zombie's love letter to her. But the costuming was subpar. I know it was supposed to be cheesy and it was supposed to be campy, but by far the best costume was Lester. Forget the actor's name, I'll put it in here. Anyway, great costuming. Loved how it looked on screen. It flowed, it looked natural. Okay. The others can't be said to have achieved that. Even Herman's like costume makeup looked a little one-dimensional in some scenes, like there wasn't enough contour done to his face. The gash on his forehead looked too like Party City Halloween. So there was that. Take that into effect. Take that into consideration. Now, and one negative, one positive. Okay, let's go on to the next positive. I love the fact that this was a romantic comedy. Okay, I do. Regular romantic comedies never really vibed with me. When I was growing up, I liked watching like the Munsters and seeing Lily and Herman's relationship. I liked seeing Gomez and Morticia in a relationship. Like those were my like sort of like things I vibed with. But it came to that. Traditional romantic comedies never really vibed with me. It always came across as two assholes who kind of deserved each other. Don't know what I mean, kids? Go watch Sleepless in Seattle. Or You've Got Mail. Yeah. Watch You've Got Mail. You'll understand what I mean. In any case, like, I never really felt the romance. In this case, I did feel the romance. It was a romantic comedy that vibed with me. It was just two idiots that loved each other. And I love that about this movie, alright? And I think a lot of the criticisms I'm seeing, especially from male creators, is the fact that I don't think most male creators want to watch rom-com. Like, I'm being serious. Like, there's plenty of guys who love rom-coms. My friend, for instance, that I, mentioned in here, he arguably loves rom-coms more than I do. Like, but, I don't think a lot of people went into this expecting rom-com. I kind of expected rom-com to begin with, so maybe that also, like, tinged my perspective. So, I did like the fact that it was rom-com. That being said, the romance sequences, like the dating sequence and stuff that like took a place over a week or whatever before they, get married. Spoiler alert. I mean, you kind of figured where that was going. Was way too drawn out. It was way too long. They could have cut that down into like a 5-minute montage with some music over it, and it would have had the same effect. Tacked onto that is also the music scene, the I've Got You thing with Sonny and Cher. Like, yes, it's cheesy and it's campy and it's over the top and it fits the time. But at the same time, it wasn't needed. Like, you could have literally just had that song play over the montage, like the 3-minute montage of their dating week without anything else, and it would have been fine. You probably could have cut 10-15 minutes out of this thing, because I felt like that stretched on way too long. That was not needed. That could have been hacked out in the cutting room floor. You could have reworked it. So there was that. Now, next positive. I do like how this sets up the world of the Munsters, like where they came from in Transylvania before they immigrated to the United States. I like that because it gives more depth to their background and why they felt so fish out of water when they got to the United States. Like, why they didn't vibe well here. Not just the monsters thing, but cultural things. So I like that they set that up. Like that they showed what Transylvania was like, what their lives were like in Transylvania before they immigrated. Because it does give you an inclination of like, yeah, that's the fish out of water thing, is because it's not just that they're monsters, it's they're used to a completely different culture, and then when they move somewhere, it's completely different. And that's sort of the basis for it. I like that. It was good. Next criticism is just an overall criticism. Like, I get it. I know Rob Zombie likes making movies with Sheri Moon Zombie. It's fine. I will get into something I liked about the fact that, like, she was the main in this. But what I will say is this was a comedy. Okay? A lot of people say that the jokes didn't land. I don't know. I laughed out loud like twice during this movie. And like I very rarely laugh out loud while I'm watching anything. Except for like really weird shows that I'm into, like Wellington Paranormal. Just a laugh out loud kind of person. So the fact that this movie actually made me laugh out loud a couple of times while I was watching it, I feel as a big thing, because I don't get most humor, but whatever humor was in here vibed with me. But she is not a comedic actress by any stretch of the word. She's a perfectly serviceable actress. She's not over the top great. She's not terrible. She's good. Like, it's okay just to be good at your job, and she's good at her job. However, because she does not have that comedic background and that comedic timing, her performance came across as stilted. I think this could have been something that could have been corrected by the director to basically tell her to loosen up a little bit with her delivery and not make it seem so stiff and cardboardy. Now, again, because of the relationship there, that might not actually happen, because, you know, who's going to tell their partner that they're not delivering well on scene? But that could have been something that like anybody could have brought up to her, and that was just a lack of behind the scenes stuff of basically being like, you know, just like loosen up, like take a deep breath, figure it out. Don't be so stiff. Don't try to time the jokes where they're supposed to time. Just like let it flow. That's a critique just in general. It's because, like I said, she's a good actress, but she's not a comedic actress by any scope. Now, with that being said, like I said, it's Rob Zombie and Sheri Moon Zombie. And the one thing I like about this is, even though they are partners, I think they're married, I don't know for sure though, like legally, at no point did the camera work for her feel gratuitous. If you don't know what I mean, go watch the first Resident Evil movie, because that is a movie where you can tell at what point Mia Djokovic was not hooked up with the director and at what point they were. And what I mean is there was a voyeuristic tone to the camera work in that movie. At no point, even though these are two people that are involved in a romantic relationship, did it ever feel like there was any sort of voyeuristic, like, fixation on her with the camera work, which I like. Like I said, people on the internet tell me that male gaze is not real, and they get mad at me when I say it is, but it very much is. There is an implicitness to view a woman as an object of desire first and a person second. And while Sheri Moon Zombie's Lily was very much shown in a positive light, and it was a respectful light, in no way felt off-putting, if you know what I mean. Jeff Daniel Phillips as Herman was very much in the vein of the previous movies, okay, or the previous iterations of the Munsters, and that was fine. I found his performance a little grating the longer it went on, so like I sympathized with the Count a little bit about this idiot, but I think that was the point. Like, stylistically, I think that was the point. So yeah, just take that for what you will. Now, a lot of people are criticizing because Rob Zombie wrote and directed this. And again, the script, is it flawless? By no means. They're like, like they just gave him a bunch of money and he just made a movie. It's like, yeah, that's what people do all the time. Is it the worst thing I've watched in the last year that was basically a passion project by somebody? No. And they're like, well, it's PG. That means it's geared towards kids. It's like, well, not necessarily. And given the content, I don't think Rob Zombie would have wanted to make it more, have a higher rating. Maybe PG-13. I think if they pushed it to PG-13, it could have been a little bit better. But in his love for the source material, and the source material was very much grounded in that 1950s traditional family values thing, as he's such a big fan, it would not have made sense for him to push those graphic elements. When I first talked about this in previous videos and stuff, and I said I hoped he'd elevate it, he did not elevate it. This is not an adaptation of the Munsters that will live on past all of this. This is something that I liked. I had an enjoyable time watching it. I enjoyed watching it. Like I said, it made me laugh a few times. That is perfectly enjoyable entertainment. And a lot of people are criticizing the fact that it went directly to Netflix. I can actually see a point of why they went to Netflix, why they shopped this to Netflix. And that comes down to what I told you, where the entire first 2 pages of YouTube results for reviews for this movie was like big name content creators just shitting all over it. And I have a feeling some of them were going to shit on it no matter what. But the thing is that's how people decide when to watch something. And as bad as it sounds, it was already a very niche project to begin with. It wasn't going to have a wide appeal. So I think that they did the smart thing and shopped it to streaming, because then they got guaranteed income off of it and residuals. That was a smart decision. I wish a lot of other studios would realize when something wasn't going to perform the way that they think it's going to perform, and instead were to shop it around for another outlet, VOD, whatever, instead of having a big, huge theatrical release of it, and then basically being like, oh, why didn't this make back its money? Gee, I wonder why. Nobody liked it. Or the people who did like it aren't going to watch it 50 million times in theaters. What are you thinking? And I think that's the case here. I think that the people who are going to enjoy it are going to enjoy it. So I will not tell you to watch it or not watch it. I will say, if you think a Technicolor LSD romantic comedy about 2 monsters is up your alley, give it a go this weekend. For me, like I said, it was enjoyable. I liked it. So yeah, that's my opinion. Take it for what you will. There'll inevitably be somebody down in the comments that just butthurt because I don't agree with them. I get fewer of those on my long form videos than I do my short form videos. Short form videos always bring out the people who are just mad because I have an opinion. In any case, that's my review for the Munsters. I think with spooky season being here, it is an enjoyable watch for off-kilter teens and adults who are perfectly fine with watching a PG-rated movie. Is it for kids? No, your kid's going to find it boring. It's a romantic comedy. Your kid's going to find it boring. The bright colors might distract them for at least 20 minutes, but it's too damn long. It's a 2-hour-long movie. It's too long. If they wanted to make it a kids movie, they should have cut out about an hour's worth of material, and they didn't. So now it's for weird teenagers and adults. There you go. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the Munsters movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Have you not seen it? Do you want to see it? Let me know down below. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like it, please subscribe. If you just like this video because you stumbled across my page somehow and this is what the algorithmic gods of the endless abyss have recommended to you today, hit the thumbs up button. In any case, I'm working on a lot of other stuff. I will hopefully be finishing it up soon. Depends. Editing takes forever. Research takes forever. But anyway, yeah, I'm working on a few other things. Hopefully get out by the end of the month. There's more unboxings coming if you happen to like those, with stuff for spooky season. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. All of your watches are extremely appreciated. I don't feel like I tell you guys that enough. And I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.